Well, there's a few things that I just thought I'd do an update on regarding the Honda Interstate Restore. As you can see, I've got the front wheel off, and I'm going to be working on these forks in the near future. The front covers for the timing belts, which have been replaced, I refinished. Actually, what I did was I wire wheeled all of the aluminum because it was in such bad shape, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. I didn't know whether I wanted to paint it black or what. I decided to go with the natural aluminum color, and so I took the wire wheel over there and I just did the cleaned them up, the front covers as well as the valve covers, and then I clear coated them, and they look pretty good. They're a little, you know, they're not perfect, they're not like chrome, but they came out pretty darn good. I was pleased with that. So everything is back together in terms of the engine right now, except, as you can see, I still have my carbs sitting out, and that's because the other day I was trying to get them back in this area here, right in here. I got all the gas lines are all in, as well as the fuel filter. When you look over on this side of the tank, over there, you can see I cleaned up the fuel pump and the mount that it sits on. That was all rusted, and I wire wheeled that and cleaned it up. And so that's pretty well all done. All of the gas lines on the carbs, as well as the air lines or vacuum lines down here, have all been replaced. And of course those carbs have all been rebuilt. Got new O-rings for them. But trying to install the carbs yesterday, ran into a little bit of difficulty because when I put these throttle cables on the carbs, and I gave the throttle a turn, well, it was sticking, and so the springs on the carbs are not strong enough to pull this back. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take this apart, disconnect these cables. They're old. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to salvage them or not, but I'm going to lubricate them, and I'm hoping that that's going to free enough up that the carburetors are going to be able to close when I take my hand off the throttle, because that's quite important. If that doesn't happen, then obviously I'm going to need to buy new throttle cables. So other than that, oh, what else have I been working on? Okay, so down here you can see there's a wire that comes in through here. This is the alternator wire. There was a plastic clip here, and that disintegrated. It was burnt, so just hardwired that in. As well, over here I had to replace and put in a new starter solenoid, which is here. So that's been installed. The tank, I did clean the tank. Not quite sure how that's gonna. It looks okay. I'm gonna fill it up with gas, and I was down at Ultimate Cycle, and my buddy Brian decided, hey, why don't you put a magnet on the bottom of the tank, and that way once you fill it up with gas, if there is rust or shavings in there, then hopefully the magnet will attract them and they will go to the magnet. The last thing over here is a score that I found this week. This was a great score. So as you can see, the original tire that was on the bike was this Elite GT, and not in good shape. All the rubber there is disintegrating, and the rim is not in great shape either. I want to clean that up. So I didn't want to spend $200 on a tire. So I happened to find this one on Kijiji recently. My wife and my student are making all kinds of noise behind the door over there. But this is a Dunlop 404, brand new tire, never been mounted, and I found it on Kijiji for $100. The only problem was I had to drive all the way up to Allison, Ontario to pick it up, but probably $20 worth of gas, so I'm into it for $120, which isn't bad for a brand new Dunlop tire. Anyway, that's where things are at. I'm getting very close to a startup. I'm hoping within the next week we're going to be able to make that happen. Talk to you soon. Yeah, so here we are in the midst of opening up the right hand plastic thingy bobber here. I'm quite sure that whatever that is, that it probably isn't supposed to be in there. Is it a spider sack? I have no idea. But I'm hoping that whatever it is, gee whiz, I hope it's not supposed to, I don't know, kind of freaking me out. What is that? It's a wasp's nest. It's actually made out of mud. Yeah. Well, I guess at one point in time there must have been wasps in there. Glad I cleaned that out before I tried to start it, because yeah, a lot of that is in rough shape, and that could be the reason, probably is the reason, why my throttle cable was sticking, because it was rubbing right on whatever that was, some kind of a moth or spider. Gross, disgusting, never seen anything like that before. But anyway, thought I'd record it just for posterity's sake. There you go. As is often the case when you're doing something like this, you work on something for 2 hours like I did last night, trying to get these stupid cables, these throttle cables, hooked up, and I couldn't get them to the right length. Thank goodness for YouTube. I went on and I was able to see how to adjust them. So I've actually got a really nice setup now with my carbs. This would not come back last night because I had the cables too tight, and they must have been binding on the on the throttle linkage. So there you go, the carbs are back on the engine, and yeah, I still have to put the spark plugs in. I got new plugs. I'm gonna gap those, put some gas in the tank, put a battery in, and see what happens at that point. That'll be exciting.